The Han Dynasty, 202 BCE, 220 CE, represents one of the longest-lasting and most formative periods in Chinese history, during which the foundations of imperial China were firmly established through a combination of effective governance, innovative economic policies, military expansion, cultural advancements, and extensive trade networks. Spanning more than 400 years, with only a brief interruption in the middle, the Han era turned a war-torn land into a cohesive empire whose cultural, administrative, and ethnic identity endures to the present day. As the majority of China's population still identifies as Han Chinese, the dynasty's rise and fall offer profound insights into how control over resources, money, and people can build extraordinary power, yet also sow the seeds of eventual collapse when those controls become unbalanced, corrupt, or overly burdensome. The origins of the Han lie in the collapse of the preceding Qin dynasty, 221 to 206 BCE. The Qin had achieved the unprecedented feat of unifying the warring states under a single ruler, Qin Shi Huang, through brutal efficiency. They standardized writing, weights, measures, coinage, and laws, constructed vast infrastructure including roads, canals, and early sections of the Great Wall, and imposed strict legalist principles of centralized control and harsh punishments. While these measures created a strong state apparatus, the Qin's reliance on forced labor for projects like the mausoleum and wall, combined with heavy taxation and draconian laws, bred deep resentment among farmers, soldiers, and elites alike. When Qin Shi Huang died in 210 BCE, his empire crumbled rapidly amid rebellions and power struggles. From this turmoil emerged Liu Bang, a man of humble peasant origins born in Pei County around 256 BCE. Starting as a minor Qin official responsible for convict laborers, Liu Bang joined the anti-Qin uprising and proved himself a shrewd strategist and charismatic leader. He formed key alliances, including with the brilliant General Han Xin and the strategist Zhang Liang. After years of civil war against other rebel leaders, most notably the aristocratic Xiang Yu, Liu Bang's forces triumphed decisively at the Battle of Gaixia in 202 BC. Xiang Yu committed suicide, and Liu Bang declared himself emperor, taking the title Gaozu, High Ancestor, and naming his dynasty Han after the region where he first gained power. Emperor Gaozu immediately set about learning from the Qin's fatal errors. Rather than continuing extreme centralization and terror, he pursued a pragmatic blend of policies. He retained the Qin's county commandery administrative system, dividing the empire into directly governed commanderies and semi-autonomous kingdoms granted to loyal followers, though he later reduced the kingdom's power to prevent rebellion. Taxation was drastically lowered, to as little as 1/15 or even 1/30 of the harvest in prosperous years, allowing peasants to keep more of their produce and rebuild their lives. Punishments were eased, amnesties granted to many convicts, and forced labor reduced. Gaozu drew inspiration from Huanglao philosophy, a Taoist-influenced school that advocated minimal government interference, frugality, and letting society recover naturally. This light rule fostered rapid economic recovery. Abandoned fields were replanted, population grew steadily, granaries filled, and social stability returned. The early reigns of Emperors Wan, R. 180 to 157 BCE, and Jing, R. 157 to 141 BCE, known as the Wenjing era, exemplified this golden age of recovery. Taxes remained low, corvée labor limited, and granaries so abundant that coins reportedly went unused for years. Agriculture formed the core of Han prosperity. The vast majority of the population, estimated at 80 to 90%, were free peasants farming millet and wheat in the dry north, rice in the wetter south, along with barley, hemp, for clothing, mulberry trees, for silk, and vegetables. Han technological improvements dramatically increased productivity. Cast iron plowshares replaced less durable bronze ones. Curved moldboard plows turned soil more efficiently. Better harnesses allowed oxen to pull heavier loads without choking, and seed drills planted rows evenly to maximize yields. Massive irrigation projects, including expansions of earlier canals like the Zhenghua Canal and new ones such as the Bai Canal, brought water to arid lands, and supported higher population densities. The government actively supported smallholder farming through policies that encouraged private ownership, regular censuses to assess taxable households fairly, and taxes paid primarily in kind, grain, silk cloth, or labor service. This agrarian base produced consistent surpluses that fed growing cities, sustained a professional bureaucracy, and funded military campaigns. Cities such as the capital Chang'an, modern Xi'an, swelled to perhaps 500,000 inhabitants, with bustling markets, artisan workshops, and administrative offices. Commerce developed alongside agriculture. Though merchants occupied a low social status in Confucian ideology, viewed as parasitic compared to productive farmers and scholars. Early Han laws imposed sumptuary restrictions, limits on luxury display, and higher poll taxes on traders to discourage excessive wealth accumulation. Despite this, internal trade flourished in urban markets, where goods like grain, silk, iron tools, salt, lacquerware, and pottery circulated widely. Coinage posed early challenges. The Qin Banliang coins continued in use, but regional minting led to counterfeiting and inconsistent weights. Emperors Wen and Jing began reforms by encouraging larger, more reliable coins and cracking down on private mints. The decisive shift toward assertive state economic management occurred under Emperor Wu, r. 141 to 87 BCE, the dynasty's most dynamic and longest-reigning ruler. Facing persistent Xiongnu raids that demanded tribute and threatened northern frontiers, Wu resolved to end the humiliation through military conquest. He recruited nomadic-style cavalry, built extended walls, established agricultural garrisons in frontier regions, and launched large-scale expeditions deep into the steppe. These campaigns were enormously expensive, requiring funds for soldiers' pay, horse purchases, weapons, supplies, and diplomatic gifts. To finance this ambition, Wu embraced aggressive fiscal policies advised by figures like Sang Hongyang. The most famous were the state monopolies on salt and iron, instituted around 119 to 117 BCE. Salt, essential for preserving meat and fish in an era without refrigeration, became a government monopoly. Private production and private sales were prohibited. State officials supervised evaporation ponds and brine wells, controlled distribution through licensed merchants, and set prices to ensure steady revenue streams. Iron, critical for tools, plows, weapons, and armor, was similarly nationalized. Mines, smelters, and forges operated under direct government control, eliminating private competition in this vital sector. These monopolies generated income comparable to land taxes, providing a reliable cash flow independent of agricultural fluctuations. Wu also reformed currency definitively. By 113 BCE, all private minting ceased, and the state alone produced standardized wuzhu, /5zhu, bronze coins of consistent weight and design. This uniformity facilitated long-distance trade, reduced fraud, and reinforced imperial authority over the economy. Additional measures included taxes on merchant wealth, carts, boats, and market stalls, as well as ever-normal granary systems that bought grain cheaply in abundant years and released it during shortages to curb price speculation. These financial innovations directly enabled Wu's most enduring legacy, the establishment of the Silk Road. In 138 BCE, he dispatched the explorer diplomat Zhang Qian westward to seek alliances against the Xiongnu. Captured and held for a decade, Zhang eventually escaped and returned with reports of fertile Fergana in modern Uzbekistan, strong heavenly horses, grapes, alfalfa, and distant kingdoms. Subsequent missions secured protectorates in the Darim Basin oases, opening secure caravan routes across Central Asia. Chinese silk became the premier export, prized in Parthia, Kushan realms, and eventually the Roman Empire for its unmatched quality and sheen. Roman sources lamented the outflow of gold to purchase this transparent fabric. In exchange, China acquired superior cavalry horses, glassware, wool textiles, precious metals, and exotic plants. Buddhism began filtering in along these routes, carried by merchants and monks. Cities like Dunhuang, with its famous cave temples, emerged as key nodes. Customs duties and trade tolls further enriched the imperial treasury. The economic boom supported a remarkable cultural and intellectual flowering. Confucianism, suppressed under the Qin, became the official state ideology under Wu. Scholar Dong Zhongshu integrated Confucian ethics with yin-yang and five elements cosmology, portraying the emperor as the pivot between heaven and earth. The Imperial University, Taixue, trained thousands in the five classics, and rudimentary civil service examinations began selecting officials based on learning rather than birth. Historian Sima Qian completed his monumental Shiji, Records of the Grand Historian, blending biography, annals, and treatises into a model for later historiography. Technological advances included Kai Luan's refinement of papermaking around 105 CE, which revolutionized record-keeping, book production, and administration. Astronomy refined calendars and star catalogs. Mathematics produced sophisticated works like the 9 chapters on the mathematical art. Medicine systematized herbal remedies and acupuncture knowledge. After Wu's death, the dynasty experienced fluctuations. A brief usurpation by Wang Mang, r. 9-23 CE, attempted radical reforms, land redistribution, abolition of monopolies, new coinage, but economic disruption and rebellions led to his overthrow. The Eastern Han, 25-220 CE, restored by Emperor Guangwu from the eastern capital Luoyang, initially returned to lighter rule and Confucian emphasis. Long-term strains, however, proved fatal. The salt and iron monopolies, while lucrative, bred inefficiency. Bureaucratic mismanagement caused production delays, quality declines, and inflated prices, sparking popular complaints. The famous discourses on salt and iron, 81 BCE, captured the debate. Proponents defended state control for revenue and equity, while Confucian critics argued it harmed common people and suppressed private initiative. Monopolies were periodically suspended or reinstated as fiscal needs dictated. Meanwhile, unchecked land concentration eroded the tax base. Powerful families, officials, merchants, consort relatives, accumulated vast estates by buying out indebted smallholders, foreclosing loans, or receiving imperial grants. Peasants lost independent farms, became tenants paying high rents, or migrated as laborers. Registered free households declined sharply, reducing government grain and labor revenue. To compensate, rulers resorted to coin debasement, reducing copper content, triggering inflation and eroding public confidence in money. Later Eastern Han emperors grew weak, often ascending as children. Palace eunuchs seized influence, selling official posts, extorting bribes, and persecuting upright scholar officials during the partisan prohibitions, factional struggles between eunuchs, consort clans, and Confucian bureaucrats paralyzed decision-making. Natural disasters compounded misery. Repeated Yellow River floods altered its course disastrously. Droughts and locust swarms caused famine. Earthquakes and omens were interpreted as heavenly disapproval. The breaking point arrived with the Yellow Turban Rebellion of 184 CE. Daoist healer Zhang Ju mobilized hundreds of thousands of desperate peasants and tenants with promises of great peace Taiping, blaming corrupt officials, heavy taxes, and inequality. Yellow headscarves identified rebels across eastern provinces. Though suppressed by 185 CE through brutal campaigns, the effort exhausted central resources and empowered regional generals who built private armies loyal to themselves. From 189 CE onward, the empire disintegrated. Warlord Dong Zhuo seized control, deposed and murdered emperors, looted and burned Luoyang. Successive strongmen, Cao Cao in the north, Liu Bei claiming Han legitimacy in the southwest, Sun Quan in the southeast, fought for dominance. The nominal last emperor, Xian, remained a captive until 220 CE, when Xiao Pai compelled abdication and founded the state of Wei. Shu Han and Eastern Wu soon followed, ushering in the Three Kingdoms period of division. The Han's fall was overwhelmingly internal. The economic mechanisms, state monopolies, standardized currency, Silk Road integration, that fueled expansion and prosperity worked brilliantly when paired with equitable taxation and peasant security. But unchecked elite land accumulation, bureaucratic corruption, military overextension, inflationary policies, and repeated disasters destroyed social cohesion. Peasants, bearing disproportionate burdens while aristocrats evaded taxes, lost faith in the regime. Rebellions provided the spark. Warlord fragmentation did the rest. Nevertheless, the Han legacy proved enduring and transformative. Its bureaucratic model, examination-based civil service, and Confucian state ideology shaped Chinese governance for nearly 2 millennia. Agricultural innovations supported massive populations. The Silk Road initiated centuries of East-West exchange, transmitting silk, paper, gunpowder, and ideas across continents. The dynasty demonstrated that a centralized state could harness capital flows through agriculture, industry control, trade, and fiscal policy to achieve greatness, yet also illustrated the peril when those flows concentrate wealth unfairly, breed corruption, or overstretch resources. State versus private balance, prudent expansion, and equitable distribution remain timeless challenges echoed in every era since. To deepen understanding of this era, consider the daily life of ordinary Han citizens. Most lived in modest thatched or tiled roof homes clustered in villages, rising at dawn to tend fields with hand tools and animal power. Women spun silk and wove cloth at home, contributing to household income and imperial tribute. Festivals honored ancestors and agricultural cycles, while Confucian family values emphasized filial piety and harmony. Elite households enjoyed luxuries: lacquered furniture, bronze mirrors, jade ornaments, and silk robes. Tomb art from the period, such as painted murals and clay figurines, vividly depicts banquets, hunting scenes, processions, and mythical creatures, revealing a society that valued both earthly success and spiritual continuity. These glimpses show how economic policies touched every level of life, from the peasant's rice bowl to the emperor's court splendor.